The FNRad Snowboarding Podcast is presented by Vans.
Some of those lines you're on top of and you're like, why did I think I could do this?
I think it was Johnson, whoever got up at like 5 a.m. He was already standing on the cliff band. He was claiming.
That's the whole reason I started the Snowboard Realm stuff.
Those are lifelong friends that you've built. You know, if you saw them somewhere tomorrow, you'd be like, what's up?
It's just so much love. And it's just a community of shredders just making a fun event happen.
I went places and did things that I could never have, even dreamed of.
You read squat all day, running power.
Probably the most interesting thing I've ever read or thought about.
Don't necessarily think that spinning around is super fun all the time.
You were just lame, really, if you went to the Olympics.
FGHC was Ford Granada hardcore.
I could not be more thankful for that time with them. Some of those girls are 14 years old and physically cannot clear the jumps if the weather is bad.
A lot of people saw that video part, they didn't even know I was riding a splitboard.
As far as my kids are concerned, everything that I'm into is just dumb.
I don't have too many comments on that.
If you actually look at Poser, which is the worst thing I could ever be, that is social media.
Season 6 of the FNRad Snowboard Podcast is sponsored by Wired Snowboards, the Boardroom Snowboard Shop, Crow's Nest Barbershops, Anon Optics, and Tribute Board Shop in Nelson, BC. The Boardroom Snowboard Shop offers online sales of everything you need to have a great time in the mountains. Check out boardroomshop.com or check out the Boardroom's unmatched selection and guaranteed lowest prices on 4th Avenue in Vancouver or Lonsdale and 21st in North Van. My son Bowen works at the Boardroom Clearance Center, so pop in and get expert help from a kid who's been snowboarding since he was 1. Before I start the show, I just need to thank all the listeners who've reached out this week with so much support for what I'm doing. Truly made my life better, so thank you very, very much. Obviously, I'm going to get out of my own way and keep making the show. I love doing it. I love you guys. Thank you. This week's guest is BC's own supermodel professional snowboarder, Chris Brown. Chris's career progressed through my favorite era of snowboarding. He was on the forefront of Whistler's backcountry exploration by snowmobile. His style is insane. He's a Wildcat, and he's the Brown in a young Brown Walsh. I caught up with Chris at his house in Squamish, where he lives now with his wife and daughter. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Chris Brown.
Should I wear this headphone?
Yeah, you can hear yourself in there way better.
There we go.
I'll just
I'm on the Rogan podcast. Or?
Yeah.
All right.
And then you can
get in the red line
or whatever. Yeah.
Word.
That was a cool story about quitting weed, dude. 6 weeks is a long time if you just went cold turkey from that day. How had you been smoking weed pretty consistently? Maybe you don't want to talk about this. You got kids now.
Oh yeah, whatever, man. It's these are stories from my past, and that was a long time ago. But yeah, I just thought it was more funny about the Kearns thing. How he convinced me to quit smoking weed when he didn't have anything on the line at all, and he actually manipulated me into agreeing to that and being like, "Yeah, you're right. I need to." And then I went 6 weeks, and then I fucking failed.
That's not a failure, 6 weeks. How long did you agree to quit for? Forever?
Forever.
That's just a weird
That's
thing.
a bad bet. That's a bad bet. Oh, well.
6 weeks. Well, at least you didn't have to pay him the $5,000. $5,000 would have been...
He gave me a discount.
Yeah, he gave you that's an 80% discount, so that's not bad.
That was a good discount.
You hitting the girl. Do you hit a girl on her skis, or do you hit a guy?
No, it's like an old
dude.
It's like some old dude, or not even that old, but an older guy than I was at the time. A skier. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm getting mixed up in my brain with that Jamie Lynn shot of him doing the method, and there's a skier kind of zigging.
That's cool that you mixed me and Jamie up. That's cool.
Yeah, you got some sick style. Dev said of your style, it was bonkers. I haven't heard anyone use bonkers.
That's cool.
Bonkers style, too much style.
When me and Devun were kids, we grew up together snowboarding up on Whistler Blackcomb. Him and his friend Alex Toporowski were from the city, and I met them at the Blackcomb halfpipe one day, and they were just super cool and acting super stoked to meet me and shit. And I was like, who the fuck, why are these guys stoked to meet me? I'm just some little shredder from up in Whistler, and they were from the city, and Deb was kind of oh, hey, what's up? He had a shaved head and a Santa Cruz board and some West Beach pants, and I don't know, we just became good homies after that. And what I was going to say is you said something about Jamie, and I was going to say, well, when we were kids and when we met, we just fucking idolized Jamie so much, man. We both rode for boardroom in the city. And we had like Libtex, and we rode big stances and no gloves. And we rode the glacier and like fucking did shifties and tried to be Jamie Lynn, basically. So when you were like, I confused you with Jamie Lynn, I was like, that's dope. I love Jamie.
He was hanging out in Canada this summer.
Rad. Yeah, I hung out with him, I guess not last season, but the season before in Baldface.
Yeah.
Trevor invited me to come there for a project, and he was there, and it was awesome. I was out in the porch actually doing some hot knives with him, and I thought that was so fucking sick. Such a rad thing. I was like, yeah, sick. I'm doing hot knives with Jamie. I haven't seen him in a while, so it was cool. But yeah, we were homies like back in the day, like just from snowboarding.
Yeah, well, you and Devin were hooked up by Murray then with the HO distribution and the Libtech stuff, and
yeah, we had, I think our team manager was Sean Brennan. Yeah, dude.
Brennan.
Yeah, and then I think I got fired or something because I was like too lippy or something. I can't remember, but to be honest, it was just I think Sean was like crazy on some shit sometime, and then like I don't know, like didn't like what I did or something. To be honest, man, that was so long ago. I couldn't even tell you what it was over, but I think I got fired
from the boardroom team. And being on the boardroom team meant what? You had to buy your board still, didn't you? At 40 off or something?
I can't remember. I used to snap the Libtex all the time, so they get pissed off at me, and then I think we got a free board or something once
Jay
a year.
Gunzig and Sean Brennan worked at that little hole in the wall shop.
That's right.
Started like they were still moving shit out of that shop into the new shop. That's where I started, and they had a big mural on the wall that was painted by Jay.
Yeah,
that said, "The more people I meet, the more I love my dog," or something.
Dude,
like
this
that.
seems like I don't even know. That's like fucking forever ago.
92,
30 years ago or something
92.
Crazy.
Yeah,
wild.
So you guys would have been little kids. So you knew Devin? How the hell would you have met him?
Well, like I said, like him and his buddy Alex used to come up to Whistler and ride the pipe and whatever, and then we sort of started riding together a bit in the spring of, I guess it would have been like 91 or 2, I think. I don't know. I moved to Whistler in 1990. And yeah, we shredded and filmed a movie called Flotsam and Jetsam. It was like an old West Beach movie.
I remember.
And we had a couple of shots in there, and it was funny because Devin sort of was like looking up to me thinking I was the cool guy from Whistler, but then he did this like savage, I think it was like a shifty backside 180 over this huge tabletop on 7th Heaven that Johnson had just had shots in on like the Mac Dog movie. And he like backside 180 this thing, and it was just like mind blowing. We were all just like, what was that, dude? He just did like a 60-foot backside 180, bro, and like landed it. And so that was kind of when I, in my brain, was like, well, here goes Devin past me. And then he, I think fucking kicked my ass in snowboarding, but it's pretty hard to keep up to Dev.
It's also
he's a
like,
workaholic, dude.
Yeah.
He's a work machine.
Yeah. And then also comparing yourself to like Jamie Lynn. Like Dev became that guy.
Yeah. He's like, just talent motherfucker, man. He's good. Yeah.
So I've seen your video parts, and I know you were on Shorties, but like, I kind of picture you as this kind of shop rat up at the Circle, or was it even the snowboard shop days maybe? Up there where you would go in and basically tell them how good you were, and they were like, all right, yeah, you got, eventually gave you a kind of like, well, show us how good you are.
Pretty much. I mean, when I first moved to Whistler, the only snowboard shop in town was the snowboard shop. And I would go in there. It was just in like a little tiny unit in the Crystal Lodge, maybe? Yeah, the Crystal Lodge. So it was in like the little hallway in there at the very end. And Dano Pendergrass used to just be in there every day. And I would come in there and sort of like hang out, fucking my Tony Hawk haircut and pick Dano's ass and ask him questions and all kinds of stuff. And I'm sure bother them all the time. And then Maury worked there. Mark Morissette, and he was like 17 or 18 at the time when he moved out here from Quebec, and he was kind of the up and coming shred, so I hung out with those guys a bunch, and then that's when I got sort of like sponsored a little bit by Burton Showcase, and then after that I was like sponsored by Shorties. I think I got right onto Shorties.
Let's talk about the Burton days. I think Devun actually told me that you were in the bar on a radio or something. You got in shit on your last trip for Burton. Does that ring any bells?
Oh, fuck. No, that wasn't actually for Burton. That was for Volcom.
Oh, rad.
Yeah, that was Burton was like a whole nother era, like where I actually ended up quitting Burton because
shit.
Yeah, I had like, you know, a couple seasons that were kind of good and a couple seasons that were kind of shit, and then the last season I had was like when my big interview came out in Transworld Snowboarding, and I had a big part in Mac Dog that year, and I was like getting grief from the team manager at Burton, and I'm not gonna say who it was BD, and he was like griefing me and was like, yo, you know, we're going to like cut your contract in half for 6 months and all this shit. And I was like, no, man. I was like, I have a contract all the way till next September. Like, wait till my part comes out. I got the interview, all this shit. He tried to like, you know, strong arm me. And I just was kind of that attitudey little kid that was like, nah, I'm better than this. I can get, you know, another sponsor. And I quit Burton. Which was which was kind of wild, and in hindsight, I kind of wish my ego didn't get in the way of that decision, and I decided to work it out. But yeah, they sort of like punked me for a sec, and then made me feel kind of shitty. So I just said, beat it.
And you knew the footage that you'd stacked.
Yeah, I knew that I was gonna have the stuff that I was paid in my contract to do. You know, like I was good, and they were still kind of griping me. So that's when I quit, and then I ended up getting on a ski company, Solomon.
No way.
Yeah, my homie Emmanuel Krebs hooked me up with a job there, and I worked with them for a bunch of years, and I got on Volcom, which was dope.
Rad.
But that story you were asking about Volcom, that was like, or Austria, that was pretty funny, actually. Yeah, we were there, and we were shredding for a few days in Arlberg in Steuben, this little resort that's super sick there. And there was some like amateur kid for Volcom, this Aussie guy, I can't remember his name, he was like some redheaded guy. And I remember like he was kind of real sparky, like kind of all over the place and shit when we were riding. And then we were going to film this line, and he comes in all from the side, and I'm like, yo, dude, I'm going to hit this thing. And he's like, oh, what? And he like shreds the whole line like in front of me. And I was like, what the fuck? Like, who is this guy? What is he doing? Like, and so we continued on with the trip and whatever. And then I remember I just was kind of feeling cocky one day, and he was on this line that you can see from this lodge that we were all in, and we were kind of drinking and stuff and hanging out, and he's like, oh, yo, you guys ready? And I got on the radio. I was like, yeah, we're ready, man. And no one was ready with the cameras. And then he dropped in and fucking ragdolled the whole thing, dude, and like licked it. And we were all laughing our asses off. And Billy Anderson came in, and he was our team manager at the time, Billy Anderson. And he came in and just like grabbed me out of there like a school kid getting in shit by the principal, and pulls me outside. He's like, dude, that wasn't cool. And I was like, well, this fucker snaked my line earlier. Like, fuck that kook. And he got all pissed at me or whatever. And it's probably why I got fucking fired from Volcom too, but whatever.
Okay, well, you didn't get fired from anywhere else. You quit Burton.
Yeah.
Fired from Volcom.
Well, I don't think I was like fired. I think, to be honest, I think Billy Anderson didn't like that I still had more fun than him, and he was working in the office.
That can be a bummer,
and
dude. For real.
He used to ride like on the team with us, and then he just seemed to hate on me after that. Even though we were filming like a couple year video part for Volcom, and he just sort of like, yo, we're not gonna actually. I'll tell you the real truth on that one. It was the craziest thing that's ever happened to me in snowboarding, how they treated me. Because I always thought that it was like Volcom family with those guys, you know. Like I kept it real close, and we were really tight homies for years, and I rode for them for 3 years. And then, you know, that dude, Billy, you know, didn't have the decency to like sit me down and talk to me. And I had just come from Hood, from filming on the glacier there, to go to LA to meet up with the homies at Volcom. And my other homies that live in SoCal, Steve Ruff, bunch of friends. And I got off the plane, flicked on my Boost Mobile Pro. Thanks to Janae for that Boost Mobile Pro, by the way. And I pull that thing out, and it's got a message on it from Billy. And he's like, yo, we decided to look over your contract, and we're not going to renew it for next year. And I'm just sitting there listening to this message going, what? Like out of nowhere. Like, what? Like I'm filming for a 2-year video part. fucking what? So I call him up and I'm like, yo, what's up with this? And he's like, oh, this, you fucking didn't wake up in Tahoe this one time. And then, you fucking told that kid to drop in Austria. He's like, so we've decided that we're going to can you. And I was just like, are you serious? Like, you guys aren't even going to sit me down and like talk to me about this and give me another chance or like figure it out? It's like, I'm just done. He's just like, yeah. And I was just like, wow, over the phone. Hey, bud, that's fucking sweet. So that really jaded me as far as like Volcom family stickers on my snowboard, feeling real like tight with these guys. And then my friend, who's supposed to be my friend, Billy Anderson, decides to go all fucking corporate dick move on me, cut me. And he had only been a team manager for like 6 months or something before that.
That's
it's
a
like,
tough. That sucks. Like,
it's
that's
just,
a shit
it's
story.
just, I've heard a lot of these stories in the industry, dude. It's
Yeah,
how a lot of us
of
riders
course.
get treated. We're out there flipping off cliffs at 6 a.m. to get these shots to promote their brand so they can sell more snowboard pants.
Right.
And make more money so they can live in bigger mansions in SoCal. But then
Right.
when we, when there's something weird goes on, they like just trash us and like can us.
That's a bummer. Did you get to do any trips with Terrier? Was he on the team? So Jamie was on that team too, right? Like Terrier, Jamie.
Yeah, I did most of my trips with Uncle T for Burton usually. It would be like a team trip or I'd see him in Vegas.
Why is my
Europe.
timeline all fucked up on this? You quit Burton for not for Shorties. Was it Shorties?
Basically,
Burton, Solomon?
No,
Or
basically I was like nobody, and then got on Shorties.
Okay.
And then Shorties ended after 2 or 3 years,
Yep.
and then I got on Burton.
Straight to Burton from that.
And then I
Okay.
rode for Burton
Yeah.
full head to toe for like 3-4 years, and then that's
then
when I
quit.
quit, and then I got on Solomon, Volcom.
So that Solomon team included Jason Ford too, right? Like and maybe Daniel
Yeah,
Frank.
Jason Ford. No, I don't think it was Daniel Frank. I think he rode for. Was it him? Fuck, dude. Honestly, I can't even remember, man. It was like.
Did you have a wider stance right at the end?
My stance went from being like wide when I was a kid, Jamie Lynn era, to like skinnier and then wider
And
again
back
at the
wide
end.
again. Yeah.
I don't know. I ride like a 25-inch stance, but
That's
that just
really wide.
feels normal to me, dude.
Yeah. I have 23, and people sometimes will mention how fucking wide my stance is.
I don't know. I feel like I got like bird legs if I'm any skinnier than that.
Standing up too tall.
Yeah, I just sort of stand on my board now and
that's where it is.
like look at it and be like, okay, that's it.
So the different eras of Chris Brown, I love the idea that you were an unknown before you got on Shorties, because that team was fucking fire.
Yeah, I mean, I was on a company actually called One Snowboards. They were a little brother company of Division 23.
Totally. I remember One.
And I actually rode for One for a couple years when I was like 16.
Is that a Maury connection?
17.
Did Mark Morissette link you up with those guys? Or
I think that actually might have been a Maury connection. I met this dude, Tom Toyota. They were in like Compton.
Whoa.
Yeah, they were like in like Compton or like Torrance. It was like right by Compton in LA, and that's where I went. And like this story is kind of jumping all over the fucking map right now. But when I was 16, I went to visit some homies in Big Bear who were living down there with a dude named Chris Gunnarsson, who became like the Snow Park Technologies fucking gunny, like building all the snowboard parks for all the X Games and all that shit. And he had a house in the parking lot in Snow Summit. And my homie Dave Craig, I
remember Dave from Ontario.
Yeah, so Dave's an OG from Ontario, been in the West Coast forever.
Yep.
He was down there, and he was like homies with Gunny. And then my other buddy, Junior, Mike Frost, I don't know if you remember
Mike
him
Frost as
from
well.
back east.
Yeah.
The scumbag. Junior, he was down there. And then like a couple other my homies, James Carrillo from Edmonton, and then Akasha Weisgarber.
Yep.
Still around in Whistler.
Totally.
But they were all like living down there. And I went down there to visit, and I ended up staying there for like 3 months in the wintertime because it was the first place I'd ever had a snowboard park.
Yeah.
So we went down to Snow Summit and like lived in basically the parking lot in this house and just got like drunk and baked every day and shredded like nighttime at Snow Summit. It was actually amazing.
Rad.
Got some powder days, all this shit. But then I got sponsored by One Snowboards then. So that's when...
What's your first package from One look like?
I had this.
boards
Well,
or
I wanted
something,
I wanted to ride for them because
Yeah.
they had this graphic on the bottom that had this DJ. It was sick. It was like
the DJ.
2 turntables.
Yeah.
So I got sponsored by them, and then that's when Devun and I were homies riding. We filmed a funny snowboard movie called Loaded when we were like 15. It's actually pretty hype. I still have a copy of it on VHS.
Oh, we got to put that out on the website.
I know. I got to get that digitized to the web, and that's with Rob Dow, Dan Wertel, my buddy Swaro. Who else was in that? Alex Toporowski was in that.
Yeah.
It's a real exclusive. This is like before anything. Loaded.
This is awesome.
Yeah.
I
And
love that.
so then,
You're on the one DJ on that thing? In that?
yeah, I was riding for one then. And then after that, that's when I got on Shorties when I was about 17.
Devin brought on Dion later on.
Yeah, for Shorties.
Yeah, for Shorty. So
Yeah, Dion was our am.
Yeah.
But he was like getting covers of Blunt and like killing it.
He was
So
crushing.
He was pretty much on the pro team.
So did you guys do Shorty's trips? How did you film with, who filmed Young Brown Walsh? Was that Tony?
It was kind of like, a collective of a bunch of us. I think it was Derek Catella.
Oh, sick.
I don't know. He was like our team manager, but I honestly don't remember who was our filmer. Jesus, I'm brain dead.
Did you guys do trips or was it like just...
Well, we went to Japan. We did a trip to Snow Summit. We did like a few shred trips. I mean, those movies didn't really consist of a lot of crazy shredding. It's kind of funny when people are like, I love that movie. I just watch it and I'm like, damn, I was like carbon powder and did like a 360, I think. But it got better as time went on.
Yeah, obviously. Yeah. And the boards were really good. Like the boards were sick.
They were next level and kind of still on a next level. I mean, we just pulled that one out in my garage there. I'm riding that this year.
Yeah, and then the one that
Option boards are built to last, man. That thing will ride for another 20 years.
The Browner board that didn't get released, that thing is sick, dude.
I know. I think I'm going to mount that up this year.
Yeah, that thing looks amazing. The colors on the base are awesome. Just, they had such a rad team. Like, you to go down to California a bunch and hang out with those guys.
Yeah, that was amazing. That was the coolest part probably about the whole Shorties vibe was when I got on there, Devin had already been like friends with Tony. Rest in peace, Tony.
Rest in peace.
But yeah, we would go down there to their place, Tony and April, when they were married and lived in the place in Santa Barbara, and it was sick. There was like a pool, and they just like treat us like little rock stars, take us ATVing out at the sand dunes and like.
Oh yeah, I forgot there was ATVing in that one.
I mean, I was such a kid then, man. It was just like that, rock star shit that you didn't really even know you were a part of till it was like happening, I was like,
Right.
What? This is fucking cool, And it was really sad that the whole Shorties thing like kind of fizzled out because of some new CEO guy that came in there and decided that snowboarding wasn't profitable enough yet.
Right.
And they had only been in it for like 2-3 years, so they weren't going to see any profit for a bit. I guess just their skateboarding side was probably so much bigger than snowboarding that this like new old crusty CEO that came in decided that the bottom line wasn't worth it.
He ran the numbers and he was like, guys, seriously, this is.
And Tony was probably like,
sense.
I don't care. Like, we're making millions on the skateboard side. Let's just do the snowboard shit. But yeah, that was crazy. Like, we got that call when we were in Japan, dude. Like, after the Toyota Big Air.
Yeah.
We were all like hungover and like, yeah, they just called us and told us, it's over. We're
Was
like,
Devin
"What?"
still on the team at that time or had he already gone to Forum?
No, Devin was still on the team.
Right.
We were still all on the team, but then that's when Devin sort of jumped ship right away.
Yeah, of
and
course.
That's when I kind of got lucky and got on Burton right after.
Okay, so Burton, how do you even get on Burton like that? Do you call them? Like you're like, hey, I'm off Shorties. I've got footage stacked. Like, let's
yeah, I
get
think
this
that's how it
happening.
went down. Something like that. It was like, I talked to them in Vegas. I ended up going.
Oh, sick! That was a good place to go.
Yeah.
Switch sponsors for sure.
Yeah, I was like in talks with them on the phone, and then it was turned into. What?
Mom said I want the tequila.
You want tequila? What? You're not having tequila.
No.
You're crazy, man. Your mom's crazy. Okay, go inside. Quit sending your kid out here for tequila. Wow.
That is awesome, dude.
What?
Yeah, those SIA shows, going to Vegas back in the day, you could literally just see everybody in the industry. You could see every single...
Legendary, dude.
Yeah.
It sucks that that had to change to Denver. I don't think I ever once went to the one in Colorado.
Yeah, once it was
over,
there, it was over.
I just wasn't into it.
I get it, what they wanted to do. Like, they wanted to have an on-snow element. That makes sense. But the Vegas thing was... It was Vegas, baby. Like,
yeah,
50
you couldn't.
Cent
You
played
could
one time
oh
or whatever.
my god,
House of
man!
Pain.
I've seen every show and been to every strip club in that town.
And everybody is there, just absolutely everybody.
Mm-hmm.
So you get on to Burton. What board would you ride?
I was on like the customs and stuff.
Thanks, buddy.
And then I ended up helping to design the 7 boards. And the analog stuff.
Shit. So you got to work with those guys on that 7 series.
I was like one of the original guys that designed all that stuff.
Who was the team riders that were involved with 7?
At the time, it was like Trevor, Andrew, and Jeffy Anderson, and Giggy.
Wow. And
Sonny. Who else was on there? Jason Brown, I think, was shredding that stuff. Hope I'm not forgetting anybody. I think that was it.
That's, fuck, legends.
Yeah, it was sick, dude. We got like control of a little more skatey style division of Burton at that time, and we were working with like Greg Dockashan and Blotto, trying to get that stuff more streety and cool for Burton.
Yeah.
And I think we did a good job. Like the 7 stuff came out, and that was pretty sick. Yeah. And the analog stuff was pretty tight, so I was pretty stoked to be a part of that, and I do claim that I had some good input on that.
Rad.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah, those boards were sick. That was a really good time for Burton, actually, because 7 was the precursor to Unink, essentially, right?
Pretty much, yeah.
Yeah,
like they did the Unink project after that.
Yeah, the Unink was just like whatever the next generation.
They still got analog
like,
going. I was just looking at the website the other day, and they're still running analog.
Yeah, totally.
It was badass.
That shit's so good, man.
Yeah.
Some of my favorite pieces in snowboarding ever have been analog shit.
I know. Burton, hook me up. Yeah, I'm paying pro for him right now, dude. Send me a box for me and my kid. She's going to be the next pro.
All right.
Look it up. Marley B.
I'm on that. So you quit Burton.
I quit Burton.
I should put that right after.
Quit Burton. I told you I regretted it. I regretted it. To be honest, thinking back to it, like I do regret that move just because I love Burton and I have always, loved all my homies there and stood for what Burton was about. I never let people call them like a jock company or any of that shit. I was like, fuck that, man. That's the most OG brand there is, like that goes back to the roots, Jake brought that shit to the masses, and, the whole 7-7 thing's cool because I'm born in 77. So I actually just on my birthday turning, and don't even tell anyone, but I just turned 43.
Wow.
And 4 + 3 is 7. So I got the 7-7 tattooed on me, and I was thinking about Burton and those guys when I did it.
Dude, that's super sick. Well, they have to do a reissue on the 7, and you got to get a fucking box of those things.
There we go.
Obviously.
I'd be down with that. That's cool.
because they do reissues every year, right? Like, I don't know if they've done a 7. I know they haven't.
Yeah, they should do that Raven graphic. That thing was sick.
Yeah, dude. It's timeless.
Yeah. I liked all those boards.
Yeah, so if we're doing timeline only, then you go to Solomon and you...
Yeah, I rode for Solomon and Volcom for, I think it was like 4 years or something like that. And then sort of towards like 29, 30 years old, I just sort of, Volcom pulled that shit, Billy pulled that shit. And then I just sort of felt betrayed by the snowboarding, and I just had been doing it for so long. And, people think snowboarding life is so easy, but like filming those parts, you got to get up, you got to go snowmobiling, you got to jump off shit and risk your life and worry about avalanches, cracking your head off rocks, all kinds of stuff all the time. And I guess I've just been doing it for a long enough time that I decided I want to do something different. So I went and tried to be a real estate agent, for about 5 years, and it was all right. I did all right at it, but I just don't think I was in the right headspace to be that person at the time. So I was also DJing and, still being a bit of an artist, and, that was sort of good and bad, like a little bit too much partying maybe in those years to be good at real estate. But, then I became a photographer and got into all that stuff in the last 5 to 10 years. And it's been good being a videographer and a photographer, but
That's sick.
I might actually even try to get back into real estate because I could see myself being better at it now.
It's lucrative,
with
right?
a better focus, you know. Because I bought and sold a lot of my own real estate for the last 20 years in the valley and Whistler here and the city. So I keep my eyes on the whole market and follow.
Dude, that's sick.
Yeah.
That is super sick. Let's talk about Airhole. How did that come about? Because that made you guys some money, I think, didn't it? I hate to say it like that. Airhole was. It seemed to me when I would go into the Endeavor offices, I'm like, Airhole's the one that's making the money here, right? Like, obviously, every shop has Airhole. Every kid had Airhole for the first little while. It was like there was no competition whatsoever.
Yeah.
How did that come about? I think I heard it, but let's hear your side of it.
Well, Airhole started like 10, 11 years ago. Kale and I came up with an idea. We were just sort of shredding out in the backcountry, and it was a really cold day, and we were both wearing like scarves and some shitty bandanas over our face, and we were just freezing, and it just sucked. And we were like, dude, we got to make something better, like something that works better, because this is horribly, freezing.
Yeah.
So we went home and we started cutting pieces of material out, and I guess the hole sort of came about because we wanted to smoke doobies through our masks. So we cut the hole out, and then that's sort of the basis of our brand, which is kind of funny.
Yeah.
Airhole. But yeah, no, we've had that brand, and yeah, we work with those guys in the city, and
he was here. Kale was just here. You guys are obviously still friends. Like, a lot of people can't start a company together without fucking hating each other after a couple of years.
Yeah, well, I mean, the situation's interesting there. I mean, Kale and I started the brand, but we had Max Jenke and those guys at Endeavor come on quite early, with like basically at the beginning.
Investors. And
yeah, they were like the producers and the, guys who did everything and run it, and they still are today.
Okay.
So we've been working with them for 11 years now. And yeah, things are looking great. Like obviously this whole pandemic shit has kind of put us into a different spot where we're trying to, produce masks to help out people in the masses. So we're making some PPE masks and all that with designs on it.
Yeah, you got to take the doobie hole out of the PPE.
Well, yeah,
shit.
we took the doobie hole out for those ones, and now people can get safe.
Get not sick.
Yeah,
instead of getting
not
sick.
Instead of getting sick, exactly.
Once shit gets successful, it's hard to divvy up the money, it looks like, or agree on what direction you're going to go.
Yeah, Kale and I could never not be friends, man. We go back so far. We've been homies since we were like 14.
How do you have so many friends from Ontario? Like, I'm interested. Dave Craig's a name I haven't heard in a long time. He became a Sledneck, right? Like, and he did like those Sledneck movies. Is that right? He was on Joyride though back in those days you're talking about.
Yeah. You know your history.
And that was like some serious shit, dude. Like, Joyride was Rowan Rogers, Dale Rayberg, like such a legit team. Matt Donahue.
Matt Donahue. Yeah, exactly.
And so then Dave Craig was like the next guy. Like, from those guys went to ride. Like, it was like,
yeah.
So I'm watching going, I've seen him ride in Ontario. There's nobody who could touch that guy. He was fucking really good.
Yeah. Dave came out here and was successful at shredding right off the bat. Like we all shredded together, and he did ride for Joyride, and I actually got some Joyride boards too. A bunch of us were shredding Joyrides back then. This was like way before anything. This was 14 years old.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, that was cool. Dave got on a ride afterwards. He had a good relationship with the Pogues, I think they were back in the day.
Tim Pogue.
Tim Pogue.
Yep.
Stephanie Pogue.
Dope.
I can't, dude.
Yeah, that's right.
That was way back.
And so, but then he did go the way of those Slednecks movies, right?
Yeah. Yeah, he was doing Slednecks movies, but I think you were asking me about, like, how do I know so many people from Ontario? It's because fucking all you people move out here. Obviously.
It's true.
85% of my friends are from Ontario.
Moved here.
Well, yeah, they just all come out, and so then they end up being from there.
Yeah, that's true. Did you go to high school in Whistler for a year or two?
I went to school in Pemberton, actually.
In Pemby.
Yeah, like back in the old high school that was up the meadows.
So did you know Zoe Clark? Was Zoe?
Of course, yeah.
Oh, I worked with her. What a sweetheart.
Oh yeah, I haven't seen Zoe in
she
years.
took over after I worked at the Boardroom Lonsdale, and I managed that shop, and then she took over for me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we go back to high school.
That's pretty dope, dude.
Yeah.
What's it like going to high school in friggin' Pemberton?
Yeah, it was interesting when I first moved to Whistler. I was from the city, and we moved up there, and I had to start taking a bus from Myrtle Phillips School, which was like right in the village of Whistler, and then I would get on that thing and go all the way out to the meadows of Pemberton, and the mix of kids that were in our high school was crazy. It was like, ski racers and a couple skater snowboarders from Whistler, and then there was like the natives from Mount Currie and the rednecks from Pemberton and Darcy and Birkin that would like come all the way in every day. And so it was like a funny little mix of people, man. It was hilarious.
Yeah. So did you do good in high school? Were you like getting good marks, or was it like distraction?
Yeah, I think so. I did pretty good. I was an anomaly where I was actually one of the first snowboard kids to be able to, start skipping school for their, new job, because a lot of ski racers had to take time off for racing. So we had this sort of system where we could take off the winters to do our activities, and then we could make it up with correspondence or the next year.
Sick.
And so I actually had a really cool counselor there named Georgina Brownlee. She's still in Whistler, and she helped me get through a ton of work and just everything to graduate.
Yeah, I remember being fascinated, like that Devun was still in high school and he was getting flown around the world. And I'm like, what do your teachers think of that shit?
Yeah. Well, I was trying to think about it and wondering who from Whistler has really made it in snowboarding?
Whistler.
That grew up there going to school.
Right.
I'm just trying to think about it. I remember Mikey Rentz, he moved out when he was about 13 or 14. So he was pretty young when he moved out, and he's obviously a big shred. But I'm trying to think, it's Sean Pettit, but he's skier, but now I guess he's a pro snowboarder.
Yeah.
So there's I was trying to think about it a while ago, how many kids had actually came out of Whistler.
I think when I asked you about the Ontario thing, 50% of the people from Ontario, and then you got another 30% from Quebec, right? So those Quebec guys blow up.
Oh, I got a ton of French homies.
Right? That's
fuck yeah.
That's the way it is. And so having moved out here from Ontario, it's someone who grows up out here typically is more laid back and is less likely to be oh my God, look at how much snow there is here. You're yeah, since I was 2, this isn't even that much
I can
snow.
back that.
Yeah.
I can back that attitude for sure. Yeah.
Yeah, you had that a bit?
Yeah, I mean, we're lucky, I can't say that we're not lucky to have what we have out here, and I'm sure people that come to show up and see that are a little more excited than we are.
French guys.
Although I don't take it for granted, and I give thanks every day.
Yeah, that's dope. That's dope. You seem to have a really good attitude.
Thanks.
Did you always have that? Because you had a reputation for being a bit
negative.
No. Yeah, maybe.
I've had some negative attitude.
Yeah, bit of negative, right.
Yeah, well, sometimes people just can't stand shit, and they just call it as it is. And maybe I'm one of those people that calls it as it is and can seem like I'm negative, but maybe I'm just calling out shit.
Sure. Yeah.
Maybe I'm just a negative bitch. I don't know. Probably both. But
a little here, a little there. Yeah,
I think that I've matured a lot, and I'm much more of a laid back human now.
Yeah, it sounds like it.
Appreciate life.
You went back to weed. That's the thing. Imagine.
Yeah,
if you
exactly. Imagine I would have quit
weed.
What a fucking dumb move that would have been.
Then you would have just been wound.
Maybe I would have been all tightened up. Yeah, no.
You'd be like a real estate agent that's just been
some
counting your
kook.
money.
Yeah.
Counting your money guy.
Maybe I'll still be that guy, but I'll be baked up.
There you go. Yeah, no, it's not even illegal anymore.
It's not illegal, man. I'm an advocate.
You could be advertising. Look, let's get cooked and get you a house.
Let's get cooked, guys.
Seriously.
Take our jet skis out. We got 2 jet skis on the trailer. Take our snowmobiles out.
Oh, yeah.
That's how I would market.
Yeah.
I mean, all these people aren't doing it right here. I want to do it up $1 million listing style, Those guys getting flamboyant with
It's a good idea.
the gifts. These real estate agents, man, they're making so much commission, and half of them are sitting on their ass doing barely anything to get these commissions. And
Right.
it's like, man, spend some of that money on marketing. Your clients deserve it.
Yeah. I was talking with
I think
Ken
it's
Ock
pathetic.
about it. Ken Ock was saying, if I give somebody a client and they buy a house, that real estate agent just made 10 grand. And he gives me like a bottle of wine.
Yeah,
It's
well,
like,
some guys are
don't even
cheap,
give me a
man.
bottle of wine, man. Like,
You gotta vocalize everything in this business. You gotta make sure it's all on the table before it happens, or else you're not getting shit. People are greedy, man.
that's incredible. Yeah, I can see it.
Gotta be a bit of a wolf, man. It's kind of harsh.
I understand it though, like wining and dining people, taking them out, showing them a good time. Like, hey, of course, you're making a big decision.
Yeah, well, there's that, and there's also just being a good real estate agent. And half the time what I see is real estate agents cutting corners on things like the photography and the videography. You know,
Yeah,
like that's actually
sure.
my side business right now. Is I'm doing a lot of interior work and real estate photography.
Brad.
And half these realtors that are getting paid these fat commissions aren't even hiring good photographers.
They're
It's like,
taking iPhone
that's
photos.
brutal,
Right,
man.
right.
Like your clients deserve a lot more than that. If you're making $16K on the listing, spend $400 or $500 on good photos and a good
Totally.
little video. It's like, it's crazy that they don't do that.
Yeah.
And us photographers, we just get nothing because they don't want to pay nothing either, right? These realtors don't want to pay for your services, even
That's
though we make it
nuts.
look insane.
Yeah, that's
I don't know.
nuts.
It's fucked
Yeah,
up.
so you can put those two things together and be real estate agent of the year.
Yeah, I could, and I'm probably going to.
That's
So
a good idea,
You
man.
might see me on the billboards next year.
Did you, growing up, what did you want to be? Like when you're doing high school, I guess pro snowboarder makes the most sense.
You know what, man? That was never something I ever thought about. I never thought I want to be this or I want to be that. I just sort of grew up, and the snowboarding thing just was natural. I was lucky. We moved from the city in 1990. My mom got a job with the restaurant company she was working with. They decided to build a brand new restaurant that was at the base of Blackcomb for years called Monk's Grill.
Oh,
You've
Monk's.
probably seen it.
Yeah, of course.
And she moved me up there in 1990. It was just me and her. So we moved up there together, and snowboarding was something that I had tried the year before. I got one for Christmas. So then we moved to Whistler, and it was just game on.
Yeah, and you got the skate park up there. And
Yeah.
you got the community. And you got
The first time I went to Whistler, when we visited it in the summer of 1990, they were building the skate park.
Sick.
And I asked at I think it was the snowboard shop, and I was like, yo, what's going on here? They're like, oh, there's a new skate park going in, go check it out. So we went across the dirt lot, and they were just pouring the rebar, like putting the concrete on the rebar.
Incredible.
And so I literally saw it when it was getting poured, and then I skated that thing for like the next 6-7 years.
So sick.
Yeah.
Yes,
I lived there.
Your skate style comes from obviously skateboarding. Like that's dope, dude.
Yeah, well, we grew up skating, so that's fucking what you get.
What was the board you got in 1990 or 89?
I guess my very first snowboard was a Kemper Rampage 151 with like the flat tail with the little kick.
Yep.
And the squiggly little neon lines, which
Yep.
are pretty flamboyant and wacko, but that was the first one I got. I got it from like Hobart Sports or something in Richmond. I can't remember what it was called, but
Yeah, Hogarth's.
Hogarth's or something?
Yeah, that's right.
Hogarth's?
Nigel Hogarth's, yeah. That's so crazy.
Yeah.
And that board was actually, you lucked out because at that time you could have got some pretty shitty boards compared to that.
Well, I wanted the black snow, like the plastic crappy one. I thought that was fire because the commercial was so sick. But
That commercial.
But then I got the Kemper, and the Kemper was dope for a year. And then I think, what was my first like legit board? I think it was a K2 XTC.
Yep, the Dan Donnelly
The
was
Dan
so
Donnelly
sick.
one. I got
Yeah.
that from the snowboard shop, and I had to T-nut it.
Yep.
And
Yeah.
that's when like Dano took me up for my first hike ever to Black Tusk.
2 Danos there, so you're talking
Dano Pendergrass. Yeah, I followed those guys up. We drove as far as we could get up the Black Tusk Road, and then we walked, and we got up all the way into the snow, and we did some shred runs down the road.
Wow,
and like
that's
scratched the
epic.
shit out of my brand new board. Yeah.
Unfucking real, dude. Are there trips that you remember that you're like, God damn, I can't believe I got to do that shit?
Oh man, fuck. That would literally take me hours to tell you about all the cool things
Not
that
all
I've
of them,
done in
but
my
is there one
snowboard
that
shit.
stands out like
I don't know. I'd say some of the Burton trips were pretty insane. Like the team trip down to Argentina with Trevor and all the homies was pretty insane. You know, like, I don't know, like there's so many cool trips that I've done, you know, Japan with Devun and the Shorties boys, KY, you know, Dion, those were like super memorable trips. The Red Bull Aaron style, I got invited twice, 1998, I think, and then 99, I think I did it. It's because I won the West Beach contest, and then they said, okay, this guy's a big air shredder, so they invited me to go knock myself out on their ice scaffolding jump, which I did.
That looked scary as fuck, dude.
Yeah,
for
it
real.
was really savage, and yeah, I was trying a trick that no one had really done at that point. I was doing backside rodeo 7s off of it and almost getting it, but the landing was just literally sheer hockey rink ice. And I was wearing a hockey helmet because that's all I had. I didn't have like a cool snowboard helmet. And I, in practice, knocked myself out cold. Backside rodeo 7, hooked the heels, knocked myself out. Peter and like Jim Rippey pulled me off the landing and we're like, I was just kept asking like, what did I just do, guys? What did I just do? And they're like, oh, you just clipped your heels and knocked yourself out. And I was like, cool. What did I just do? What did I just do? And they're like,
no, you were in a loop.
So I was in delusion, and they sort of were like, okay, go back to your room, but don't fall asleep because you could die. I was like, okay, cool. And I went back to my room and fell asleep for like 2 or 3 hours till before the contest. And I woke up so dizzy, like all concussed and whacked out. But if we didn't do the jump, then you didn't get your minimum 2 Gs to show up and hit it. So
right.
I went up there and, you know, fresh air and like 50,000 people screaming kind of got me pumped up.
That's got to be insane.
And I was like, okay, sick. And then I did my trick and I didn't get any love, but I did like a cab 7 rodeo or something and I got like 6th place or something like that, which wasn't bad for so many people there, but I never got any love at that place.
How crazy is it to be in that start gate looking down knowing that there's an icy landing? Do you just forget that there's an icy landing because
I don't
there's
know.
just so much?
The energy is nuts, man. It makes you kind of forget about that stuff for sure. But I don't know. I just dropped in, probably like half concussed. Didn't think about it. But I actually landed my trick in the contest, which was dope. I didn't try the backside rodeo 7 because that just was too hard to get. And so the backside or the cab 7 was sort of what I was going for, and I got it.
Yeah,
I only got 6th place. The hula hoop 900 by Stefan Gimpel won, I think, and he won it like 3 years in a row with the same hula hoop 900.
Wow,
$50,000 every time in an Audi A3.
Oh my God, he won 3 cars.
3 cars, dude. It was insane. I saw some corrupt judging there, though, man. That was like probably the worst that I've ever seen.
Really?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, like
they
you
were
could
getting
tell.
people in that were these Euro superstars that were flailing in the early like rounds.
Really?
And they were like letting them go through, and other people stomping big shit weren't making it. It was like
that's so
pretty
crazy.
obvious.
But that's kind of cool that they set up this like corrupt contest.
Yeah, drink your Red Bull.
Yeah.
Jump. I think the best year was probably when Romain jumped onto the frickin' Audis and scratched them all up and shit. That was like a gnarly year.
Really?
Yeah. I gotta take a leak.
Yeah. I'll pause it.
Pause?
Yeah, of course.
Yes.
Use up that zone.
Cool. Good for Kern.
Yeah, and he's got this huge van that he put together that is like super
camper
fucking
van?
sick. Yeah.
Whoa.
That's not really like a camper van, you know what I mean? But it's like, what is it? It's like it's some Ford all-wheel drive, like 4-wheel drive, like legit.
Well, he's like hardcore, right? Like he's like the island surf dog.
He's the island surf dog, like for real.
Yeah, him and my buddy Orion just went out to Shut Your Mouth fucking beach.
Yep.
Out on the west coast, and they took their boat in and anchored it up and surfed for like a bunch of days and camped. And
yeah, it wasn't Orion that got hurt. Orion went back with the guy who got hurt, maybe? Or that might have been a different trip.
I don't know about any about that.
I didn't know Orion. I've met him one time. He was like legendary in North Van for making sick shirts, dude.
Yeah, and he's this kind of old North Van skate legend. Dude.
Yeah, and he was
he has shirt company.
Yeah, he was widely held to be the best skater North fan.
He's a sick skater for sure.
Yeah.
He's even a better raver and disco dancer.
Really? For real? That's pretty great. So you're living dad life now, right? Like that's
pretty much.
I've done some dad talk on the show with Tyler Lepore, a couple of people that are in dad mode.
Yeah, well, you have a kid and then all of a sudden you're in dad mode.
She's 4?
Yeah, she's going to be 4 in December.
She's still 3. That's
still
new.
3, yeah. 3 3/4. It's weird when they're that young. You start like you're not like they're 3. You're like they're 3 3/4.
Yeah, totally.
They're almost
That's
4.
True. That's true.
Yeah, it goes by in like increments.
Yeah,
it's pretty wild.
Yeah, how's it been adjusting to that?
It's been amazing, dude. I love my kid. She's the cutest and raddest thing that's ever happened to me. So, yeah, it's not really an adjustment. I guess it's sort of just natural. When you have a child, it's just a natural feeling to want to like take care of them and give them the best of everything, and be there for them as much as possible. Like I grew up having dogs, and I think that really trained me for having kids. Like
I was
for something.
I was like legitimately thinking it would be like on the dog caring for dog tip, and I was holy shit. What a wake-up call.
Well, it's definitely different and way more insane.
Way more insane, right.
There's principles there that are similar,
Yep,
like
totally.
Just the responsibility of having something that you have to deal with every day.
Mm-hmm.
And that's your child, like every day you're entertaining or you're feeding them and keeping them clean or whatever, you're doing so much stuff, and it's all worth it. The best.
Do you get out sledding still a lot? I saw some footage from you sledding last year.
Yeah, man, that's kind of my whole thing now. Like I don't have any responsibility to go film a video part, so I just kind of go out when I can and go freedom style snowboarding.
I saw you riding a wired board. Those things are sick. Kind of remind you of the old option stuff.
Yeah, ironically enough, run by my homie Rob Dow. Yeah, he's got that little project going, so I've just always been a backer of Rob ever since he was at Endeavor. He's a good friend of mine and gone back a long time, and I always think he's really smart at board design, and he designed some freaking nice sticks. So when he first started his brand, I said, yo, let me ride some of your boards, and he hooked me up, and so we've been sort of working together for the last couple of years, just shredding his stuff and giving him some footage and letting him market, and hopefully he ends up making something out of that brand, because it's definitely sick, like it's really good board technology, and the ride and feel of them are really solid, and they're great.
Actually, he and Sean Brennan at maybe Jim Barnum started a brand in 1991 or 92.
Oh, I remember it.
Yeah. Virgin
snowboards, dude.
Yeah.
Of course I remember all
cracked
that.
edges and the whole nine. I think he's claiming that's the first twin tip boards. Those are the first ones that like true twin boards. I think those are the first.
Could have been. That was like literally freaking 91 or 2 or something. I was like,
it was so long ago. Yeah.
Before or after Never? It was
way before. Like 2 or 3 years before.
Yeah. Yeah, I remember that. Like, did they press them in their garage or something? They were like,
you know
real
what?
Ghetto.
I think I asked him about that. I think they ordered 100 of them from somewhere, and the company just couldn't fulfill on 100 and sent them like 25 or 50 or something.
I remember this.
But I remember seeing one in the shop, and where it bent around the edges, they were cracked. Like, remember, like in segments.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's kind of like the era of when Alex Warburton had Magnum snowboards.
That's right. Yeah.
And that was hype.
Kearns was on Magnum too, I think.
Yeah.
He had the two of those
That's
guys.
Right. Kearns was on them.
What a fucking... and it was
Sick
probably the
era,
same
man.
deal. Yes. Yeah. That's my favorite part of the show, is talking about, like, how fucking rad was it, honestly, to be like a new video would come out and you'd be like, oh my God, snowboarding has changed again. Like it's got that
Kinda
much
went
better.
like that for a bunch of years, And
I
actually thought in the last little bit that snowboarding couldn't get any crazier. And then I just watched Mark McMorris ride, and I just be like, what the fuck is going on?
Yeah, you see his last edit, like the little thing that he put out on
and hits some
Insta.
ice shit and does some switch backside nines and some switch backside nine rodeos and whatever.
And such clean riding out,
Just clean.
like just ticking every single box if you wanted like a perfect clip. And it looks like he's just like shredding with a buddy.
Maybe Sparky's just a total robot. Maybe he's AI, dude.
Could be AI.
AI, dude.
Like, yeah, they can CGI that shit.
Maybe it's Fugazi. Maybe it didn't really ever even happen.
Yeah.
Maybe he's not even really riding.
Maybe there is no Mark McMorris. Do you keep up on stuff like that? Like, did you watch this year's Man Boys video?
Snow Ravers?
Is that what it is? Yeah.
I think so. To be honest, I've seen all the Instagram plugs and stuff in the last few days on it, but I haven't actually had time to watch it. But I'm gonna watch it. I know. I wish I got more hype to go with like see snowboard movies, but I don't really anymore.
Yeah.
I guess it's just when you're a dad, right? You don't have much time.
Right.
But I'm gonna watch it.
Yeah.
I'm definitely gonna watch it.
Did you do movie premieres? You must have. There must have been some sick movie premiere at somewhere.
Well, that was like the way that things used to be, before the internet was taking over everyone's lives and making everyone film themselves in their phones.
Yeah.
We used to have to go out all season and film a snowboard part.
Yeah.
And film it on film, like 16 millimeter film. It cost a ton of money. Every time you'd wipe out, you'd feel like a dipshit for not getting the shot. So you'd be wasting tons of money in film and time. And every year we'd have a premiere down in like San Diego, or mostly San Diego, because that was when there was the snowboard trade show back then, ASR, I think it was called, ASR.
Wow.
Action Sports Retailer.
Yeah, I haven't put those two things together. That happened in San Diego, where I've been, which is sick. It's like a nice spot.
Yeah, we used to have all the premieres down in Cali, and so every year you'd be all pumped up because your video part would be done, and you'd be like, yeah, I get to premiere this down in Cali, and then it would come on. You'd be all half drunk, and everybody in the snowboard world would be in the theater, and you'd be like kind of getting butterflies when your part would come on. You'd be like, oh shit, does my sponsor think this is good? Am I fired? And some years were better than others, obviously.
Dude, that's sick. That's awesome. Yeah, because I remember I never went to ASR, but I remember the premieres being in San Diego, because there were a few years that there were epic Vancouver premieres. Remember, like
those would always happen like after.
Way
ASR
after.
was in September, and then that shit would be like in October
or November, even like really close to the season, right?
Yeah, it doesn't shit like that. I don't know. It just doesn't have that impact anymore, I guess, because everyone's so fast food now.
Yeah, totally.
Everyone needs their action now, and things change every day. And
the last premiere that was super sick like that, it was the last Wildcats movie, and that premiere was like old times. I saw you there. It was at Fortune Sound Club.
Oh, okay. You're talking about like
2 years ago or something.
Yeah, a bunch of years ago. Yeah.
Yeah, that was sick. It was like I felt a little nostalgic, and I felt a little happy, like maybe this is going to happen every year again. And then I did a premiere.
That was actually a pretty fucking savage.
Right? Remember? It's like, what in the fuck?
Had a shirt off.
Yeah.
Yeah, we were raging.
Yeah. The little private zone below.
Yeah, I seen
that
those guys are trying to make that company still pop. Hey, the Wildcats OG or something.
Yeah, I think it's Devun and JF.
Sweet.
Which I think I'm into it, man.
Yeah, cool.
I'm gonna plug it. I'll plug it at the end of the show. Yeah,
popping.
Yeah, they've got stuff out right now. So go check out Wildcats OG on Instagram. I think that's where you get it.
Whittlecats. Yeah.
Fuck yeah. Dude, thanks for being a guest on the show. It was a real fucking pleasure talking to you.
No problem. I hope we didn't jump around too much. I drank like 3 shots of tequila, and I'm about 6 Coronas deep because we just had taco night at my house and you came up.
Yeah.
I just fired the best golf round of my life today, so.
Yeah, tell us about the round. That's sick.
Fuck, I don't know, man. I'm just like a major golf addict, and I fired 7 birdies today and had a 1 under.
7 birdies is insane.
Yeah, dude. I had 4 birdies in a row at one point. I just was on full Tiger Woods mode today. It was weird.
That's dope.
Yeah, well, just play this game where you like try to play as best of golf you can, as fucked up as you can get. You just keep drinking beers and Smoking doobies and trying to shoot good.
You did that smoking doobies and drinking beers.
Yeah, I probably smoked 6 joints. I only drank three beers.
Yeah, but
yeah,
you
71.
71. So that's on 18?
18 holes.
Jesus Christ, dude. Yeah, congrats. That's great.
Thanks, man. It's been a lifelong achievement.
Yeah.
Finally hit it today.
That's it.
It just came together. I never actually shot par on a golf course. I had a putt for a 71 this year on a golf course up in Osoyoos, but I 3-putted the green, so I shot 73, and I've only ever shot 1 over before, and so I never even shot even. I just shot 1 under today.
Dude, that's all time.
That was cool.
It's fucking
Maybe
style.
I'll make the senior tour.
Yeah, you remember Nick Parada? He's a PGA guy right now.
Is he?
Yeah, fuck
Nick
yeah.
Parada, like
Nick
the old
fucking
school
Parada. Yeah.
Standard Films guy.
Totally.
Is it Standard Films?
That's
where
right.
He like ragdolled into the rocks. That guy?
Yeah, that guy.
He's a PGA guy?
Yeah.
What does he do?
He's like a pro instructor or whatever.
No way. He's a
Swear to God.
badass golfer.
A badass golfer,
gotta
yeah.
Look this guy up.
Yeah, do it, man. Fuck yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah, he was up in Alaska for a bunch of years, and now I think he's doing that down in California.
Nice.
Be pretty sick to go fucking
Golf's
shoot around with
pretty
him.
sick sport, dude, and
Yeah.
a lot of us that like Devon's a huge golfer.
Big time, right?
Arrow's a huge golfer.
Yep.
Arrow's living in Cali right now as like a golf pro.
Come on, same thing.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
he sort of was done with his snowboard shit, and he was like, I fucking love golf, so I'm gonna stay in Cali.
That's
so
insane.
He's down there working with some pretty sick golf courses, doing that, and
That's fun. Yeah, Burt
I'm just
Lamar does it
addicted.
too. Burt Lamar's he's trying to do in golf what he did in snowboarding. So he's trying to bring like, skate style pants and shit. Like I don't know. To golf,
That's
man.
cool, man.
Iliac is shout out for
Iliac.
That's his shit.
Dope.
Mhm.
Yeah, I've actually been like horny to do a golf brand. I've been thinking about some cool shit because I think the whole golf industry needs a shake up, man. There's like so many young golfers coming into the game.
Yeah.
And that style is that country club prep shit is like it's too crusty, man. Like,
Yeah. Well,
there's
that's
so many
what
more young kids with style coming in. You need to have more fresh shit. So
Yeah.
I have some ideas and thinking about starting this golf brand, but
do it, man. That's what fucking Bert did. Like he basically started sponsoring people like snowboarding, right? He just did it. And according to him, it's going fucking super good.
That's rad.
So
Ideas are a dime a dozen. You can have so many ideas, but actually executing ideas is like a whole nother level.
Yeah, well, you got to have some connections with the air hole shit, right? Like manufacturing wise or whatever.
Yeah, I'm
Get
sure.
some factories.
I'm sure I could
Do it, buddy.
Get it all. Well, you want to invest? You got
Yeah,
some money?
I got no money.
That's what
but
we need, money.
I will. It's true. I'll talk about it on the show.
Yeah, I get
to a bunch of
some
snowboarders.
investors. You guys want to do a golf brand? Hit me
There
up.
you go. Yeah,
Just
DM
shot
him.
71, dude.
Fuck
Pro
yes. All right. Thanks, buddy. FNRad shout-outs this week to Browner, Kale, Mikey Rents, Jess, everybody who was at Browner's place for Taco Friday party. Special thanks to listeners Richard Goodsell and Jason Borgstead, and thanks to everyone for your rad messages about the show. If you're on Instagram, check out Ken Achenbach Real Estate and the new Wildcat streetwear offering. Get yourself or someone you love some Wildcats gear for Christmas, and be sure to come back next week for another episode of the FNRad Snowboard Podcast, presented by Vans and brought to you by SIA Productions.